He travels a lot, and he always wears like random, like Peruvian street vendor clothing.
Yeah, that's what it is. For sure.
I believe it.
Peruvian. You know, the little collar that goes like up.
Yeah, I got you, bro. Okay, nothing else other than the fact that Thomas was wearing a shirt you're curious about.
What else? It was the only event.
How was climbing?
Climbing was really good. I love Red Rock, Nevada. I did go with Bubba. Kind of weird. No, it just made me feel like I was on edge the whole time. Like somebody's looking for all my secrets, and I gotta be like, not that secret, not that secret. I mean, no secret to speak of. It's just like, it's weird. It's like being social with high school kids, like outside of school that are sort of come back. Like, I don't know. What else? Anything else? Nobody knows it?
Royal Honda.
I heard about that. How many of you went to Royal Honda?
Yeah.
Wicked, good news. Nothing else?
Question.
Yeah.
We're going to see our test, like, the last test. Like,
Say it again.
And then Unit 7.
Unit 7, I am very curious. I too am curious about that. I don't know what the answer is. Sorry. I'd like to know, Kelsey Abkin is almost done with the last question, but she's been either sick a lot or in other classes trying to make up for when she's been sick a lot. So, like, 3 of the 4 questions went really fast, and then that one last question, she already started it, so I don't want to give it to another aide because I like to grade your test consistently. I'm sure you agree that the same person should grade his as hers, because God forbid that those 2 graders have a different standard. So we're kind of waiting for her to be caught up with the rest of her life before the last of the tests get graded. I'm guessing in a couple days. Probably not too far from now. What else? Nothing? Yeah. Okay, I'm listening.
But, so was global warming actually make it so advanced more?
In some parts of the world, but it's very likely that other parts of the world would have the opposite effect. There's only so much moisture on Earth, right? Like the water atoms are limited content. So maybe more of them will live as vapor than liquid because of the hotter temperature. That would make sense. And with most of them living as vapor, you have to wonder where that would be distributed in response to stuff like currents or wind. The one thing that we can be really sure about is any place on the planet where the weather stays the same would be very surprising. So there's no specific easy pattern about heating, cooling, windier, less windy, wetter, drier, but it's really likely that the equation will change for almost all parts of the Earth.
So like from more humid, it's like more water around it.
I mean, that's how that one variable works, but the interplay between that and all the other variables in the climate equation is really tricky. Everybody wants like really specific answers, but like some of the stuff that we're pretty confident about, we know that Europe will enter extended cooling and drying. For example, we've already seen that. We know why. It's a major layer that only applies to that part of the world. So that one is for sure. The Indian Ocean will become wetter for sure.
What do you mean wetter? Like more water?
More rainfall. And also hotter. Hotter and more rainfall. And it seems very likely that a Alaska, trying to see if I can remember this, would become warmer and wetter. So the jet stream will carry more moisture. But the jet stream will shift, so it wouldn't necessarily affect how far we're staying. Yeah.
What do you think about the new head of the EPA, or at least the nomination for women?
I've heard that homegirl was leaving, but I haven't heard who the new one is.
Yeah, there's the new one. I think she's just been nominated. It's just expected in that. Or maybe not. Maybe she's kind of a lightning rod.
Do you know when this happened?
Yeah, like yesterday.
Oh, I've been out of town. I haven't read the paper yet. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
So I heard there's like when volcanoes erupt, it shoots up into the upper atmosphere that actually like reflects sunlight.
When what shoots whose ball?
When volcanoes erupt, it like shoots up into the upper atmosphere.
Correct.
Actually like causes like cooling effect.
Yeah, global dimming.
But I didn't know the answer to that.
Oh, no. That's 100% legitimate. I even have a demo prepared for you. Earth with a layer of reflectivity. You can imagine less light enters, less heating. Thermometer.
I just thought it was like sort of weird.
Yeah, right. I mean, the volcano itself, like, they have like one really hot spot full of lava.
Well, not like.
Yeah, so it depends on the gases. Usually you get a lot of sulfur oxide, and so after the immediate dimming of the particulates, within 2 years, you get warming because the particulates will settle down, leaving you with a clear atmosphere again. And then some of those oxides actually trap heat better. So it's like this. Anyone else? I have all the answers.
You almost got me there.
Okay, fine, then I guess we're not talking. I already asked you about exam makeups. We're getting into Unit 9. Grab the papers in the back. Okay, listen very carefully. I need to get your attention. This is supposed to scare you a little bit. In this school year, Unit 7 is the one that students always do the worst on in terms of grades. Like the most kids get beat down and the most students get frustrated by details. Well, Unit 9 is probably the hardest, and that's the one we're about to start. If you look at your study guide, you'll notice there are 7 assignments, which is the most we've ever had in a unit. And you'll also notice there are 64 study goals. A lot of them are big study goals. There's not a lot of candy cane content. Yeah.
I have a couple unrelated questions that I have to get in.
Let me get my thing in, and then I'll try to answer that. Say again? There were how many in what now?
There were 9 assignments in Unit 8.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Just the lab and the first lab and all that.
Oh yeah, okay. So right you are, and my point is there are 7 in the study guide alone.
Do we also have
Plus lab, pre-lab, post-lab, and other stuff. So overall number of assignments in Unit 9 is going to get bigger, but I need 7 in the study guide alone. You'll notice there are 4 chapters, and one of those chapters is broken up into 2 separate assignments. You'll notice there's a reading packet and a movie set of questions, and the movie set is for a movie and a half. So the 9 today, plus a few more coming later. You'll notice there's also a typo. Please look up. One extra question wasn't attributed to an assignment. Question number 59 falls in this assignment. Yeah.
Are assignment 9.2 and 9.3 chapter 23?
Can you say it again? I'm sorry.
Is assignment 9.2 and 9.3 from chapter 23?
Yes, it's the first chapter. Yes, thank you. And study 9.6 is the last chapter, 26.
Okay.
What else?
the next thing due is the 9.2.
Correct, and that's due this Wednesday. The other due date is the solar house models in 2 Wednesdays beyond that. Yes?
That's my question.
Sure, yeah, what's up?
Are we gonna do any prep in here for the AP test, or is that all?
Yeah. No, we'll have at least a week here.
Okay.
In my class, it's mostly just talking about what you've done on your own.
Oh, okay.
So you'll do the bulk of the actual review work at home. And then, like, there's a math day when you take a bunch of math problems home.
Okay.
And then in the one period, I'll show you as many math problems as I can.
Are you gonna assign or recommend like pages for the
Yeah.
American guide?
Yeah.
Oh, and also send an email asking me.
I just answered today. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
It's not at school.
Oh, and this is probably premature, but the project after the AP test, past student told me that like your entire grade for the second semester.
They lied to you.
Okay.
So careful who you trust.
Okay.
Like it's in the X-Files. But, it is half your grade, though.
Oh.
I got that. Yeah, yeah.
Is that hard to get? I mean, is it hard to get 100% on that, or?
No, and it's actually really easy to stand out. The flip side is, like, it's a totally different kind of grade. So a lot of the kids are really good at schoolwork, but they're not really good at, like, interacting with human beings. And so, like, if you're not good at, like, being part of a group or leading a group, like, some kids get really bitter. I had a student a couple of years ago whose supervisor was another student that they just didn't get along with, and they were like, screw it, I'm not going to do what you said. And they got, like, really, it was kind of like a bad relationship between them. And then because that student dropped the ball, that committee dropped the ball, so the project kind of fell apart. And at the end of the year, when everybody's grading, they're all like, why did our class do so badly? Oh, yeah, his fault. And so everybody gave him, like, a really bad grade. And he had, like, a very strong A and walked out with a very limp B. Because of the impact of that last grade. Then again, I've seen a lot of kids that walk into the project with an F. And like, well, I suck at schoolwork, but I'm really interested in this project. And so it usually works that the kids that are really lagging dig themselves out very well. It rarely happens that kids that excel academically will flop because of this. It is mathematically possible. And I'll explain this in great detail.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. The point I wanted to make about Unit 9, though, students. This unit has a staggering, crushing scientific detail of it. Of everything this year, this is the most detail-intensive unit. Because there will be like a big concept like ozone depletion, and then 1,000 little details about that. And then a separate concept about smog, and then a zillion little details about that. And a separate concept about our natural climate system, and 1,000 little details about that. And then a separate concept about man-made global warming, and 1,000 little details. And there's more. I have to tell you that actually at the end of this unit, most of my kids have kind of learned how Jose runs the class by now. I leave this to the end on purpose. But this is like the one unit where you want to do all the work, where you want to pay attention, where you want to take all the notes. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. This ties together a lot of details. This unit had to come at the end. After this, Unit 10 is a piece of cake. It's like 2 weeks, pretty mellow. Unit 11 is like a sheet of paper. Then we get some review, and we take the AP test. So it's like totally downhill to the finish line from Unit 9. You're about to enter the last thing that you have to try really hard for in APES. If you want to walk out with a strong grade, this is the part where you do your work. Like, this is the make or break unit. If you're floundering, after Unit 9, there's not a lot of chances to get your grade back. Like, after Unit 9, everybody goes, okay, I'm thinking about graduation. What do I got to do to pass this class? And it's like, bro, too late. Like Unit 9 is kind of like a lot of points getting ready to happen right now.